Hello, hello, hello. This is Franny the Traveler here, and I am here with another Amplify Black series. So, just to introduce myself, I am a nonprofit executive director and a lifelong educator. And I basically love to find Black travel gems literally everywhere I go. So that means uncovering the Black history and culture that exists, as well as thinking about Black owned businesses, as well as what is the experience traveling while Black in the most even unexpected of places. So today is a very unexpected place. We are going to talk about what does it mean traveling while Black in Scotland. And so this is part of my Amplify Black series. I started this because I published a book, Support Black Period, in October 2022. And so this is an extension of that, where I'm trying to elevate the voices of other Black travelers. And so I am super excited for our guests that we have today. Is going to be Travels in My Lifetime, Mr. Preston. He is just a dope, amazing guy. So I'm just gonna get him on here. All right, we are just waiting for him. Hello.
Hey,
Oh, we are color coordinated.
that's it. I just thought, I was like, yeah, she understood. She understood the assignment. I was
The assignment today.
like,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just enjoying my Tuesday night.
Yes, yes. Same here. Same here. I'm super excited to have you on. I know we've had a lot of dope travel conversations in the past.
Yeah,
I've been on your platform, so I'm excited to have you on my platform now.
man, I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So if you can let the listeners know, who are you and how did we connect on here?
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's a long story, right? A couple years in the making.
Yeah.
Hi everybody. I'm Travels in My Lifetime, aka Preston, and I'm just a lifelong traveler. I'm an Army veteran. Did about 11 years in the Army. Now I'm in the Virginia area. Probably just if you're familiar with Northern Virginia, close to like Woodbridge, Alexandria, and stuff like that. Still work for the DoD. Still doing my whole federal thing, supporting, America. And in my spare time, I created a business, Travels in My Lifetime LLC. And with that is my whole goal is just to make the world smaller. And how I do that is just talk to everybody. Because I found like a lot of times, maybe in my early 20s or like that, people just didn't say hi. Like a good old
Yep.
fashioned, hey, how you doing? And you don't have to stay, but just acknowledge a person. So I like to do that now. I like to just talk to everybody, and it's kind of worked out for me because I meet people like Franny, and I actually ran into her because I had a travel podcast, Adventures with Pictures, with my co-host Ryan, who's my best friend in real life. We no longer do the podcast, but I made some wonderful, wonderful connections, and Franny is one of them. She came on our show a couple of times, and we discussed various travel topics. And ever since then, we have always kept in touch. She's a super dope creator, and when she found out I was going to Scotland, she was like, I knew she was like super excited. She was like, hey, I'm going to, and I was like, oh, bet. So I like how everything paired up and stuff like that, and I can't wait to take her book on the road this year to a couple of different states that I have in mind, and just start getting, because you actually said something about that too, like getting people to like kind of like sign it or
Yeah.
stamp it or whatever they can do. So I remember when you said that when your book came out. So I definitely want to give it a little road trip.
Yes, yes. And again, he is dope, dope people. And I'm super excited because let's be real, we do not see many people in the Black community traveling to Scotland. So when I saw you were going to Scotland, and like you said, it lined up for us in terms of our trips just being like a couple of months apart, I was like, I have to have you on here to talk about that, your experience. So just for anyone who's joining, we are going to have a conversation today on what is it like traveling while as a Black American to Scotland, just for some housekeeping. So make sure if you are on here, you can share this with others right now. Also share the replay with others. If there's anything that you like or resonate, you know, a like button, drop a comment. We also are here for some questions as well. So feel free to make this an interactive experience for sure. So we will get right into it. First question is, what made you travel to Scotland?
All right, so to be honest with you, I've always wanted to go to Scotland. And a quick little funny story is when I was living in Germany, I bought a ticket to Ireland and Scotland. I was supposed to go there for about, I think, like 6-7 days. And my ride fell through to get to the airport. And I still had probably about 4 or 5 hours to get there. I could have made it. So I asked my wife, I said, babe, can you run me up to the airport? Now, when I say run me to the airport is like 2 hours away, one way.
Oh,
and she hit me with the hell no. And I'm like, but babe, I've already bought the plane tickets. And she's just like, I guess you're just going to lose your money. So long story short, I didn't go. So that's always been a little, little thing, a little joke between us. But I was finally able to go last year. And I went mostly because it's off the beaten path, which I consider for our people. Because a lot of times you just hear about the same, a couple of cities, countries and stuff like that. And I just wanted to do something different. And it was different. And I did a whole European little tour. And it was awesome, just going to different countries that a lot of people, and I knew it was different when people was hitting me with the, hey, why the hell you going to Scotland?
Several places that people typically do not go to. So definitely let people know where else you also went.
Yes. So on that particular trip, I got to go to Romania, went to Scotland, of course. I went to Norway, and I went to Sweden. So it definitely was not a lot of melanin anywhere around. I mean, I can count on one hand how many, I guess, Black people I saw in at least in Edinburgh, Scotland.
No,
it was definitely very few.
Valid point you bring up, because we're definitely going to talk about that. I'm always curious to hear, especially why people decide a location. I think similar to you, I'm a person who always ends up going to countries that other people may not typically check out. Like, I haven't actually been to London yet. So Scotland was actually my first time in the UK. Okay. So the irony of, out of all the places in the UK, that was the first place I ended up. And partly is because it just looked lush and green. And then also it was just a cheaper place to travel to at the time that I went. So I'm always trying to follow the deal versus the destination, which has led me to Norway too at some point. So
you can't go wrong with, like, all 4 of the countries were beautiful. They all have their own flavor of travel and points of interest and stuff like that. So I guess it's all about what you're looking for. So me, I always look just for the new adventure, like, the new I just like this. Like I said, I'm just in such awe of all the places I've been and the places that I want to go. So going to Scotland was just a natural choice for me. And I even having a custom kilt being made. Like, I found a kilt maker, got the measurements and all that stuff like that. So I will be wearing that thing.
I bought a kilt too, not custom made, but I did buy it. I was there though. So I'm curious, what was your perceptions or expectations that you had about Scotland before traveling there?
So I have been to London, and I thought it was going to be like more of a London vibe, where I saw Black people all over the place. Like, they're just, it felt like America. Like, it was just such like just an abundance of Black people. Then when I got to the airport, I knew it was going to be different. Because, like, I looked around, I was like, I think I saw one Black person who just was like so obscure, like in the background. I was like, is that person black? And I was like, okay. Then I got into the Uber, and I'm just driving. And then you just kind of like looking at the streets like,
Right.
oh, okay. Damn, there's no black people. Then I get to the hotel like, okay, no more black people. Then it was just days upon, like, I just didn't see any black people really. So, but I mean, I tend to fit in anywhere. I don't necessarily, you know, like I can just thrive anywhere. That's just part of my background. So it wasn't that bad. I wish I would have liked to see more black people. And that was one of the things too that I'm glad that I went and I was able to come back and showcase it, because I want to spark that interest. Like, oh damn, because a lot of people say, oh, I never thought about that, and I'd be like, good, that's my job. That's what I want to do. I want to show you that it's more than just London. It's more than Tulum. You know, it's more than Atlanta. You know, it's like, hey, go somewhere and see some, you know, other cultures.
No, I resonate with that too. So for me, I didn't expect much black people, but I didn't expect how little black people that I saw while in Scotland. But to your point, it is very telling when you're like at the airport of like who you're seeing and all of that. But I think part of what inspired me also to want to go is I want to figure out the black history in the places that you least expected. I feel like it's become a new challenge for me. Like, what can I uncover in a place? And part of my interest, because I saw on Instagram a woman, Lisa Williams, she goes by 𝗙𝗘𝗔𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗜𝗡𝗚 on Instagram, and she does Black History Heritage Tours actually in Edinburgh. And so that literally was a driver of like, I'm going to Scotland and I'm going to meet her and she's going to do a tour with me. And I definitely chased her down by email, but it worked out scheduling wise that I was able to get like a one-on-one tour with her.
Wow.
And so enlightened me so much more on what the black experience was like, or the black history that is in Scotland that no one ever talks about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I think I seen that you just posted that reel, right? It was like I think I remember seeing it like what, like a week ago or something like that.
Yes.
That was pretty dope.
More stuff to like post as I continue to do the Scotland series. But I think to your point, to help people put it on the radar, because I think what I began to see, people just like didn't realize what is there, and that there is a black culture that exists despite how small that it may be. So I'm curious in terms of like, when you were there, what did it feel like as being a black man, especially a black American man traveling in Scotland? And what cities did you go to?
So the only way I can describe it or put it, I just felt like a man on the moon. Like, because I wasn't around my own people, didn't see my own people, I just felt like I was kind of just a stranger. It just had a stranger feel. Now, but the people were lovely to me. They was beautiful people, super nice, very engaging. Met a few people that actually still follows me to this day on Instagram. So I have nothing but great things to speak of the country or in the city itself. So as far as the cities that I visited, so I think I spent maybe a couple of days in Edinburgh, and then I just did day trips to the Highlands and stuff like that. So I'm not sure on like well, I did go to Stirling.
Yes, castle. Yes.
Yeah, went to Stirling, and I did like the castles and stuff like that, and the Highlands were just simply amazing. And it was kind of what I thought it was going to be, like cloudy and all stuff like that, kind of gloomy, but it just added. Yeah, but it added to the atmosphere of what I perceived Scotland to be, right? So I definitely want to go back, and I think I want to go back in a different time of the season. Maybe get a little bit more sun, like whenever they have like a little bit more sun and stuff like that. But I definitely want to go back and explore more of the Highlands, actually.
When did you go to Scotland?
It was the end of October.
Okay, so we were similar times, because I went towards like end of November. So to your point, during that time, for anyone to know, if you are traveling to Scotland during that time of the year of the late fall, you're definitely going to get a whole lot of gloom and a lot of But it is a mood in and of itself, because I feel like that with the picturesque like buildings and
Oh yeah.
church cathedrals, that created its own vibe as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely love I just love the architecture in Europe just in
Oh my
general.
God. And the art there is breathtaking.
Yeah, it definitely was awesome. And I wish I would have did a walking tour. I actually just did my own walking tour. Like I just went out my hotel and just started walking with my camera because I didn't mention it before, but I do vlog everything that I do on my YouTube channel. But I was able just to walk around and met a lot of people, get a lot of weird looks because people, I mean, for whatever reason, there's like thousands of vloggers or millions of vloggers, and I still get those looks like, the hell you doing over there? You know, it's funny to me, but it still was just an awesome time vlogging the city. The food wasn't really hitting off. Like I couldn't do the food like that. But
I definitely agree with you. The food is not it in Scotland, and it's interesting because I actually have a story related to that. So I don't know if you guys know, and I put it on my IG stories, but Scotland, Glasgow specifically, claims to be the creator of the chicken tikka masala, right? Like that famous, popular,
yeah.
Right. So when I, found this online, I'm like, okay, I gotta find the spot. Like, let's see how good it is. And so I did try it out, and I was like, all the spices and seasoning that I feel like we're used to, like with that dish in the United States, was not happening in Glasgow. I'm like, if they're the creator of this, then I'm like, this has had several upgrades, like since.
Wow. Okay.
It's not well seasoned at all.
I can see that. I actually called my wife about like day and a half in. I was like, babe, I think I'm about to starve. And I was just like, I was hurting. And my wife was just like, just go whatever, whatever. I was like, babe, you don't understand. Like, this ain't it. Like the food.
Packed hot sauce, yes.
Packed hot sauce.
That was,
I'm gonna have to start doing that.
It's just not even seasoned well.
Yeah.
It was like very bland.
Very bland.
Yeah, very bland. The best part was the naan, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. I tried to, like I said, I try to keep it basic. I think I was eating fish and chip. Excuse me. I ate fish and chips like everywhere I went just to survive. And I've never been a European breakfast type of guy. That definitely wasn't it either. I think I had breakfast included in my hotel stay. And I think I just drank orange juice and apple juice. And I was like, I just get full off this. Like, it just wasn't it for me for food at all. And that's why, like, if anybody follows me on YouTube, normally I do a food vlog somewhere. I couldn't even do it because I was just like, yeah, I don't have nothing. So I didn't even try to attempt to do any food vlogs for Scotland. But I do plan on going back, though, because I'm sure it's got to be some locations out there in Scotland itself that may be better than, say, Edinburgh.
Right. So for me, because I know we had also different experience. So I went to Scotland on like a guided tour to hit up different cities. And I was also like, I sometimes just like to show up on a trip and not have to plan it. So for me, I got to see Glasgow, Inverness, and Edinburgh. So I think my trip in total was about 7 to 8 days.
Okay.
And so to your interesting point, I feel like there were different degrees of the number of Black people I saw depending on what city I went to. So for me, Glasgow, so the irony is I uncovered later Glasgow is actually the place that has the most Black people in Scotland.
That's what I read too.
But that is where I felt like, aside from the Highlands and Inverness, was where I saw the least people. Like, I was counting in one hand the number of Black. Every time I saw a Black person, I'm like, oh my God, Black person. Versus, Highland, Inverness, like, I knew I stuck out as like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
I also had the experience of like, I actually attended a Roman Catholic mass while there. Like,
really?
I'm Roman Catholic, and they were like, oh, there's a church, whatever. So I made my way there. Of course, definitely stuck out. And that is Edinburgh Edinburgh was where I saw the more of the Black people, but it left me wondering, was it because I was thinking I was probably seeing either more tourists or more like international students in their university. It was hard to know how many of them were, you know, natives to Scotland. I will say I did, speaking with Lisa, who did my tour, and she has like Black heritage in her and also is like from Scotland. She was saying how most of the Scots identify as like Afro Scots if they're Black, like they're African descent that may have moved to Scotland at some point. Okay,
that's interesting. Man, I wish I would have. Like I said, the ones and twos that I saw, like someone was passing by. Sometimes I was doing something, I couldn't get a good conversation because, like I said, that is my thing, to try to spark a conversation, just because you never know where it leads.
Yes.
But I didn't get a chance to. But I do, like I said, I do plan on going back to Scotland, and I do plan on maybe going back to Edinburgh for like a day or so, just to do a couple things that I did get a chance to do because it either rained. And that's one thing, like I said, during that time frame, it was rain, it was misty, you know, it was all that type of stuff. But I just want to just explore a little bit more of the actual country itself. And I still got to hit Wales. Like, people looking at me like, why you want to go to Wales? I'm like, why not?
Got London, Ireland, and Wales to go to.
Yeah, and I know you're going to get there and do a real good job of collecting that content, because that's one thing I know about you. You're super thorough. Like, you're not putting out like no jive out there. Like, no, you're going to make sure you do your research, make sure the content is what it's supposed to be to your standard, you know, before you put it out. So I can't wait, you know, for like more content that you put out from these different places and stuff.
I appreciate that. And I also want to shout you out too, because I think seeing your content on Scotland, especially before I went and like after I went, especially like your vlogs are very detailed. So it was also helpful for me to see like what my experience was going to be like while there. Someone mentioned in the comments in terms of like, yes, the term Afro-Scot, not necessarily mixed or biracial. And so in some cases, I will say you will find many Afro-Scots who are mixed and biracial. This was something I realized, like my tour guide, for example, she is a perfect example. I think she's mixed like Grenadian and like something. Or there was a Black performance like exhibit, like it might have been in Stirling Castle, like they had a small section of just a video that was playing of this like performance arts that was actually elevating Black LGBTQ in theater. And the fact that I managed to like find that online and be able to go there, because I think it was like about to end when I went, but I noticed a few people on the videos and identified as like biracial. So, and even Black artist that I saw in a museum, she's like half Ghanaian, half Scottish. So there is the case of Africans who migrated to Scotland and are just like full Black, or many of the people who may have been born in Scotland who are Black are more likely to be mixed or biracial, is what I picked up on. Okay,
I can see that. Because I do know the Black people that I did see were very dark skinned. Like, they was very, very dark skinned. So I didn't see no mix of anything in their particular, in those particular individuals.
Yeah. If you had to estimate how many Black people you saw on that trip,
I'm gonna say less than. I'd say 6 or less, something like that. I mean, it was very few. Yeah. And it wasn't like I saw, you know, 6 in one day. It was like I might have seen one the first day. Like, I was only in Scotland for like 4 days, and I'm talking about maybe one a day, maybe 2 a day. It was crazy. Like I said, I just never experienced that before, and I lived. You know, actually, let me take that. Well, I would say, because it does get tricky when you think of native people, because I'm about to, like, in South Korea when I lived there. I mean, you know, when you get to like them Asian countries, they're very pure. Right. But I did see Black people because American soldiers are over there.
Right.
So it was easy to see that. But obviously, we're there because, we're stationed there. But just like once you leave those communities that are heavily influenced by like the military, it gets super pure. Like you're not going to see anyone,
Yeah.
So I guess, but back then I just never put my thumb on. I never really paid attention to it. I was just in the moment. But now that I vlog and travel vlog and do the restaurants, the museums and stuff like that, it's a little bit more noticeable for me now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I would say in Glasgow, I probably could count in one hand. It might have been like 2 to 3. But in Edinburgh, I think I might have saw 10 plus or so Black people.
Wow.
It was just like in passing in various places. But what I did notice was like many of them were like kept to themselves. Like they were like out and about their business. Not as much like chatty versus some of like the other Scots that I came across.
Okay.
Led me to think, which you started to talk about, how would you describe how you felt the treatment was for you in Scotland, and how did you feel safety wise in Scotland?
So for me, one, I felt completely safe. No worries, no fears. But I also do a little bit of risk management. So how I mitigate my risk and keep it low. I don't be out at 2 o'clock in the morning just walking around aimlessly. So that's one. Normally I'm in my hotel room, no later than 9, 10 o'clock at night or whatever. So that keeps, things low. But I actually did end up going out, not going out to like any bars and stuff, but I had to run out and get some water for my room. And it was like maybe midnight, and I went to like a 24-hour store or whatever. And I still feel safe. Nobody was really bothering me. Nobody was looking at me. Nobody was. That's one thing. I didn't really see a lot of like soliciting. Like people just left me alone. Like nobody trying to get me to buy anything.
That's true.
So that was super cool.
Because sometimes American or in the perceived American, people are always trying to get you to buy things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be like, dang, dude, like, can you let me alone? So, yeah, that's always been one of my things I just always hated. That's my one big thing I hate about Europe, just in general.
Like in Italy, I was being hustled to buy things.
Yeah, and I try to be nice to everybody because I know everybody has a job, and that's their job. But I'd be like, look, man, like, if I tell you no, I can only tell you no but so many times before I might get irritated. But overall, like I said, I definitely would say it's a very, very safe place for anybody, because I saw women walking by themselves, men or whatever. Everybody from the moment I got from my Uber all the way, actually my Uber driver, just coming from the airport to get to the hotel, they actually took the long way. And it didn't cost me anything extra because obviously it's Uber, you already pay for the money, whatever. But they actually drove me around the city to make sure that I was familiarized with it. I have never had an Uber driver do that. Time is money. And they made sure I knew how to get around. They even told me, hey, don't get an Uber, man. Like, just walk the city. Like, the city is very walkable. You don't need an Uber. So I was just like, wow. Because he could have easily been like, hey, here's my number. Give me a call. I'll pick you up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But he didn't do that. And it was the same thing leaving Edinburgh. My Uber driver was super cool. He let me sit up front. He was like, hey, sit up front, let's talk. And then we just had a real good conversation. He was showing me pictures of his family. So, and that really gave me like a warm and fuzzy that, hey, these people are all right, When I got lost, people was able to help me with directions or, whatever. Or they kind of give me little tidbits like, hey, they got a Harry Potter, like, free walking tour over here. It starts at 2 or whatever. You should probably show up. Just stuff like that. Stuff that just makes me feel like, oh, these people actually genuinely don't want anything from me. And I don't get that a lot. And like I said, I travel a whole lot. And, let's say 7 out of 10 times, somebody's always trying to get me to buy something.
Right, yeah.
So.
And it's funny because now that you're naming that, I had a very similar experience. Like, I didn't think of that, but it is very true in terms of what you're saying. Because I found people were just really nice and approachable. It was so interesting because some of them also just had a fascination with my hair. That's his like own thing. I was getting ran across, like, oh my God, your hair. So they didn't touch or anything. I mean,
Okay.
because I know that's like a thing, and so especially in Asian countries, in some
Yeah.
Asian countries, but it was just more of like them just. Yeah, that was a thing. They apparently love the locks, the faux locks out in
Yeah.
but I did feel that they were very, yes, they were definitely wanting to welcome and very honest. Like, I had an Uber driver who actually was from South Asia. I think he might have been Indian descent. And the fact that he felt, I guess, comfortable or vulnerable enough, because I started asking questions like, what is his experience as a South Asian man um, in Scotland? And he was being upfront in terms of some of the colorism that he faced. And so why I mentioned that, because I think it's important to be also owning the privilege of like what we may have experienced as Black people coming to Scotland, but as a tourist could be very different from the experience of a Black person or a person of color living in Scotland. He mentioned most of the time he has felt safe, but he did mention like there has been some incidents that he has had friends experience at like a McDonald's or something as a result of being South Asian. So it was just a thing where it just made me aware of like that is a thing, especially when we think of colorism and race and how that can play living in Scotland, just because there's just so few people of color in general, not just Black people.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
I say, oh, Natalie. Hey, what's up, Natalie? I will be wearing the kilt. I just got to find me an event. And I'm going to be, yeah, I got the whole outfit.
Oh, you got
the
it.
socks.
Bottom.
Oh, yeah. I got the socks. And, like, so the kilt, if anybody's interested, because I don't belong to a clan. And, you know, they, like, since I was in the Army, they have the U.S. Army print for the kilt or whatever like that. So technically I could wear it to a military event and, you know, anything like that, whatever. But like I said, any place I go that has some type of hat, clothes, whatever, I try to, you know, get to. Like when I was in Germany, I got the lederhosen, you know, then like, you know, say Scotland, the kilt or something like that. So I just try to get to traditional garments and not to be disrespectful with it. Like I'm not going to, yeah, because most people, they kind of remix it.
Your thoughts on like culture appreciation versus culture appropriation.
Exactly. Like I try to like keep it authentic and wear it when it's supposed to be worn. I'm not riding around Friday night talking about some, hey, let me wear this. No, like I'm not doing that. But I did see a lot of people, and let me backtrack a little bit. The Scottish people are some fashionable people. Because I saw some outfits, I was like, oh, okay, that's fly. Like just all the cashmere and all that stuff like that. It was super nice. I actually stopped a guy. He was like a concierge or whatever at this hotel, and I was happening to be walking by. And he just had this super fly gentleman outfit, and I was just like, man, where'd you get that? And we just had like a 10-minute conversation. So it was super dope.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I also see on here from Enchantment Gift Shop in terms of looking for a complete change of lifestyle and culture. So interested in living a month and a half in Scotland and also the same in Ireland, especially from the Bahamas. So I would definitely say it will be a big shift in culture. I mean, the good part is that they speak English. So especially knowing the Bahamas also speak English, there isn't a language barrier. I will definitely say the Black culture does exist, but you have to actively look for it. And it's a lot harder to find than other places I've been to, because I found it harder to find even in comparison to Norway. Like I was actually surprised how more diverse like Norway is. Like I actually it was like opposite of what I thought. Like I thought Norway was going to be very homogenous, and it ended up being a very diverse city, versus Scotland. Like you said, you might think, oh, because it's next to London and it's actually very quick from London, that there would be more, but in fact Scotland has remained more homogenous than you think. There are communities of like Caribbean people, especially because people coming from islands such as like Jamaica and other English speaking countries who are living there. So for Enchantment gift shop, like you can find other, especially English Caribbean countries of people living there. And then there's also like the African community that is there too, for sure. I'm curious in terms of, what do you feel like people should know about Scotland that they may not, that you realize after traveling there?
Food. Because most travelers are foodies in some capacity.
That's true.
And I'm not gonna lie, that is a major part of people's travel, is the food or whatever. So be prepared for that. Because I even asked for authentic Scottish food or a restaurant or whatever. And the guy, the guy at the hotel was just like, "Oh, we don't really have like restaurants in that fashion. We're more taverns and pubs and stuff like that." So you have to be prepared for that, because I know a lot of times, people like to go spread out and get that whole restaurant vibe going. But
some more
it is
vibe there.
Yeah. So be prepared for the taverns and stuff like that. I would say get out your comfort zone and get outside the city, because I think that's where the magic happens. And I found that to be true about like Iceland and stuff like that when I went to Reykjavik. But I say get out the city, because you really don't need to spend that much time in the capital. I mean, a couple of days is enough, and then you really just need to kind of just venture off in whatever direction that you need to go. But there's so many other places to see. But you have to be willing to be like an outdoorsy person, maybe go on some hikes, maybe go on some trails.
Right.
Like you said, when you go to the castles in these small like towns. I don't know if you got to see them, but I got to see the Kelpies.
Yes. Oh, yes. Talk about that. Yes, I went.
Yeah. So the Kelpies, they're like mythical horses. They're supposed to, well, I guess part of the mythology is like they're supposed to like, if a human touches them, they're supposed to like drag you underneath the water and pretty much never be seen again. But it's so anyway. So they built these two big giant Kelpies, and they're supposed to be like bringing water from like the dams and stuff like that to power the cities and stuff like that. But it's absolutely beautiful. I didn't know nothing about them, but right before I was leaving, I have a coworker named Maria, who was like, "You got to see the Kelpies." I was like, "What the hell's a Kelpie?" So she showed me her pictures, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to go see them." So I saw them, and it was 100% worth it. Like if you get into like the Loch Ness, you can go to the lochs, which are just lakes. They have several different lakes. I didn't get to see the Loch Ness one, but I went to Loch Lomond, which I was talking to a lot of Scottish people, and they was like, that's their preferred lake. There was like a lot of touristy people like to go to Loch Ness because of the Loch Ness monster and all that stuff like that. But it just more or less, you just have to get out your comfort zone and actually explore, like the museums and stuff like that. And I mean, for me, I don't know about the turn up, the going out, stuff like that. But I mean, I'm sure they got a nightlife, if people are into that type of stuff, whatever. But I'll definitely say food and get out the city and explore.
Yes, I will say for Scotland, I think some of the best beauty is outside of the major cities for sure. Like the Highlands, like breathtaking in terms of the greenery and scenery. And you notice that from the minute you're flying in to Scotland for sure. But I would say,
see the cows?
What happened?
Did you see the cows? The big ass cows they got?
Yes. Even that looks different, right? Like it's just like
those cows are good. They're pretty big.
Yes, they are very big and hairy, and like it's a whole like a different thing. But
that was pretty cool.
Even the city part, in terms of, I think, just being open-minded of the experiences that you will have in the city too. Like for Edinburgh, one of the most memorable experience, and it actually just happened to be perfect timing for me, was I was at St. Giles Cathedral, which is like where I think Queen Elizabeth ended up going, like her body was there, like when she passed. And what ended up happening is that they had an Advent concert because it was like the beginning of, like, I guess the Christmas season of sorts. And so it was such a beautiful experience to be in that cathedral with like the echoes and the scenery of the church, to hear a Christmas concert. It was a combination of like Scottish and Norwegian musicians, like the choir. And I still haven't like posted this on my story yet, but like that's something where you just got to be open-minded of like when you stumble upon these things. Like I learned about it and I was like, okay, I got to go back to the hotel, charge my phone, and walk back. Like for one of the biggest highlights on my trip, right? Versus what you might find as a highlight in Atlanta, or, you know, going to Ghana is going to look very different. Like the turn up is not what you're looking for.
It's not.
But there's other experiences that you can definitely have for sure.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, the first time somebody played the bagpipes, that was pretty dope. Actually, I sat there for like maybe 5-10 minutes and just watched them do it, whatever. And just like I said, the history, just learning about, you know, all the, like, you know, like the English conquering all these places, going to war and all this stuff. I mean, it was just like a really big just lesson, like just educational. It was so fascinating on how things were going for people. And then, like, you know, I saw movies like Braveheart, and then my tour guide, that when we left the city, he was like, oh, you know, that movie was, you know, BS. Let me tell you the real deal. And just listening to that type of stuff. And I just find it like super fascinating. Like when I go to places like this, and I think more so when I like go overseas, that people actually love their country, and they actually like know like damn near everything about their country. And I just be like, wow, like you know all this about it? Like, yeah, we got independence and this and we did this, and but I'll be like, damn, I'm like, okay. And like, and I'm not saying Americans don't do that, but it's just, to me, sometimes when I talk to other
pride that they have.
like their pride is just, you know, way out there. I'll be like, wow, I think that's really super amazing.
And I would say with that, it's helpful to go to any national museum or state museum to like get that history too. Because when I went, I think it might have been the National Museum in Edinburgh, I uncovered, like, I didn't realize Scotland had like connects or was trying to infiltrate Panama at some point. Or from my tour guide, like learning like there's a Scottish Haitian connection, which I'll post on my like feed at some point what that is. Like there was just a lot of history. Like I think we always think of England and London when we think of history, especially when it's colonization, but Scotland was not guilt-free in all of this too.
Oh no, not at all. No, not at all.
Very different, but it is definitely still there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to do a lightning round with you in terms of uncovering some of your travel preferences before we do a recap of them. So first, wondering, are you a solo traveler or a group traveler?
As of right now, pretty much 90% solo.
Okay. City vibes or nature vibes?
Whew, city.
City all day.
City all day.
You're like, I want a dose of nature, but not
I just need a day trip and I'm gonna bring it on back.
Right.
That's it.
I'm with you on that. Tourist or local adventurer?
Local adventurer.
Yeah. Yes.
I definitely like to get off that beaten path, and that's one of the things why sometimes I do tour guides, but the last couple of trips I just been doing everything on my own. So I just stumble across the city and I just find hidden things, whether it be murals or, you know, some cool looking houses or just people in general. And then I always like, so when I plan a trip, I like to have a skeleton of like an idea, like an itinerary. I don't want to have it 8:01, we're doing this. Right. 8:17, we're doing, like, I don't want that. I just kind of want roundabout say, hey, I need to see these 10 things, and anything outside of that, I just keep it going. I don't want to be so rigid with my schedule.
No, it's true. I mean, even though I joined like a tour group for this, there were many times that we had free time, and there were several things that like many people opted into that I opted out. I was like, oh yeah, because I'm opting out so I could do this like Caribbean tour, or
Yeah.
I'm opting out so I could view this like Museum of Edinburgh, which had like a Caribbean exhibit at the time. But I also feel like you get gems from locals while you're there, and the time you have, like, especially if you're taking Ubers and taxis, those would be some of the best drops.
That's when you're supposed to talk. That gift of gab. You know, they tell you all the insights of their city and tell you the do's and don'ts, and I'll be like, cool, you know. So, and even with some tour guides, like it's some real good, genuine tour guides, like my man Diego that's here. You know, I met him in Antigua, Guatemala, and you know, he gave me some gems. So I love a local tour guide.
Yes, yeah.
You know, that actually wants to communicate with you and actually, you know, show their city or their country. Like, I love that.
No, yeah. I think that's important in terms of like the localness. So that's also a pro tip too, in terms of seeking out local tour guides while you're in a city and just having conversations with your Uber drivers, your taxi drivers, your waiter or waitress at a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get to learn things. Luxury or budget?
Budget.
A budget.
Yeah, I'm a budget luxury type of guy.
I'm like, I'm not trying to go like hostel mode, but you know.
Oh, no. We're not doing that. Like, I'm not going below 3 stars. Yeah. Like, my accommodation's got to be at least 3. And if that dollar is crushing that currency, we're going 5 stars.
Yes.
Like, I was in, what was it at? I was in Arequipa, Peru, and I stayed at a 5-star hotel, and it was only like $90 a night or something. So I was like, can you give me some more stars? Like, can I get 2 rooms? I was like, yo, it was just so cheap. I was like, I got to go this. But 3 stars is the minimum I'm going.
Yes.
I need my own bathroom. So
I feel you on that. Team carry-on or team check-in?
Oh, check-in. And the reason why I say check-in, I have a lot of, you know, stuff that I have to carry, like all my video equipment and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to get it into a carry-on.
I'm usually team carry-on, but if it includes a checked-in suitcase, I'm definitely taking advantage on this trip. Allowed me to check in. So I'm like, all right, might as well, because normally, you know, in the States, you got to pay for these things. So,
oh, yeah.
Are you extended vacay or microcation?
You know what? I thought I was extended stay. I think deep down inside, I'm extended, but I have been doing your little, you know, your tips on a micro kick, because I'm telling you, you could do a lot in 3 days, 2 days, 4 days, whatever, and it's been perfect. Because sometimes I feel like I can stay somewhere too damn long, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. You know, so hopefully, I mean, I haven't read into it too much, but I think, you know, sometimes those 3-day trips are just a blessing. Like, it just breaks up the monotony of your life or that month or whatever like that. So I try to, you know, find that fine line. I only need extended stay if I start going over 8 hours flight. If it's like over 8 hours, I need to stay for X amount of days.
Like, as for microcations, I would not recommend trying to do a microcation for flight or driving that starts passing 8 hours, because at that point the amount of time it takes to travel, but, you know, flight to Europe, if you're on the East Coast, especially if you travel at night, you're landing in the morning. It's like a perfect way, and you could be there for 3 to 4 days.
Oh yeah, that's what I did for Scotland. Like, I think I caught the I want to say my flight was maybe 10 o'clock at night from Dulles. And then I landed in Scotland, like, you know, 6 in the morning or something like that. And it was perfect. Like, I was in the hotel by 8. I think I was on the streets by 8:30, just walking around. So, yeah, it was perfect.
Which then leads to the next thing. Are you team no sleep or team relaxation?
No sleep. I don't even know what sleep is, you know, when I'm out and about. There's no sleep. And that brings me to my own point. If you're rolling with Preston, I will leave your ass. I just need people to understand that, because my co-host Ryan, I don't know if you remember, but he was team sleep. Like, hey, it's
Yeah,
vacation,
I do
and I'm
remember.
like, and I feel like vacation to me is if you go to a beach and you just at a resort. You're not really going museums. You're here to get massages, massage, pool, sleep, whatever. But if you're going to say Scotland, I'm not sleeping in. Like unless I'm there for 3 weeks where I can just afford to just kind of
And no naps too, your wife.
yeah, like my wife, yeah, she know. My wife, we when we go places, as soon as we hit the ground, we are
I
out
know my husband
because
has that issue with me because he be wanting to like relax and take it easy. And so we've often had to compromise on trips. Like Hawaii, which I just came from, was like the perfect blend of there was a couple of days built because obviously you go to Hawaii also for the beach life too. So
yeah,
it's like days just for that beach life. But I'm like, no, I also need to learn the culture. Like there's a whole culture here that I will say, and I can't wait to showcase it when I do where I feel like every time I notice when people talk about Hawaii on Instagram, it's just talking about the beaches and all of that. And I'm like,
yeah,
so much culture here, like
wow,
connected to like American history and Asian. Like there's just so much there that no one ever
okay.
on Instagram that my mind was just like blown.
And that's what I'm looking for. I feel like you can go to oversaturated markets, and if you're a real traveler, not a tourist, but if you're a real traveler, you will find those hidden gems because I've never been to Miami. But a lot of stuff I see from Miami is the same thing, the same thing over and over. But I was talking to this lady at the Travel Expo a couple of weeks ago, and she was just belting off like, oh, Miami has this, we did this for blah blah blah. She was just belting all this stuff. I was like, wow, I never see that content. And just like how you said about Hawaii, like Hawaii, all I see is volcanoes, beaches, luau's, and that's about it. And I'd be
And
like,
more there, I'm telling you, it was quite an interesting experience just because it was like, yes, I'm experiencing the beach and there's no concept of time. But then when you started learning the history and culture, you're like, oh my gosh, I got a lot to process right now.
yeah, the wife and I, we're going to Hawaii. I don't know about this year, but probably next year. We got like a free trip to go to Hawaii, so we're going to explore that.
Awesome on that.
Yeah.
Yes, oh yes, red lips and passports. There are so many gems in Miami.
See?
I've been shocked. And so I've been to Miami, I will say transparently, for Carnival. So I've also seen like to visit family too.
Okay.
But I want to go back to Miami specifically because, to your point, I realized, especially through like ABC Travel Greenbook and Nomad, like
Yeah.
a lot of Black history that's not talked about Miami, but also, my bias being Haitian American,
Yeah.
there's a whole little Haiti. Like I need to go to Miami just to do a whole little Haiti, like experience own thing.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's the thing, and that's the reason why I like talking to like-minded people, because, like I say, I'm at the age where I don't go out like that. My wife, she a cougar. She's a little older than me. Just she like to throw that year part. I'm like, but we like to just relax and get it in, go to museums and learn. I love to learn and just see what the city actually has to offer. And then to your point, when you go to these cities, they have these crazy events. It kind of takes away from the city because you don't have the time.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I felt when I went to Dublin, Ireland for St. Patrick's Day. I don't think I ran across any Irish people because every time I talk to somebody, where are you from? I'm from Australia. Where are you from? I'm like London. I'm like, damn,
Right.
where the Irish people at?
You're like, where are the people who are bored here?
Yeah.
But then Red List and Passport also mentioning for like Miami, you could catch the Bright Line to West Palm Beach, and there's so much Black history there too. So that's helpful to know. For those who are
Okay.
we was talking about what is it like traveling while Black in Scotland, but of course we ended up covering other themes in terms of being a tourist versus a traveler. So I think in a recap in terms of Scotland, what would you say are 3 things people can do in Scotland to have that traveler experience instead of a tourist experience?
Okay, I would say for the travel part is I would say try to do some hikes, because there was some hikes that I was not able to do because of just the compressed time of being on there for 4 days. I would definitely say that, like, if they had some views over the lake that you can do the sunset tour or the sunrise tour. I think that's completely off the beaten path, because I think the ride from Edinburgh to Lake Lomond was like 2 hours out. I mean, it's like you just driving in the middle of the countryside, or just visiting like the cows. Like, I didn't know I was even going to see the cows 'cause it wasn't part of the tour. The tour guide was just like, "Hey guys, we're kind of like near some cows. You want to stop over?" And we did. And I thought that was super cool. You know, we got to feed the cows. We got to learn about the cows and how they was bred from the Vikings and all this other stuff. So it was just super cool doing that. I mean, do the touristy stuff like the Edinburgh Castle. I mean, you're there, you might as well do that too. But, you know, trying the local food like the haggis. Did you try haggis?
Yes, haggis is a thing. Also,
That's when you lost me.
baked macaroni pie. I don't know if you tried that.
No, I haven't tried that. Is that good?
That was probably the best of the Scottish food that I had. That's a thing, actually. It's not
Really?
like people are thinking Caribbean macaroni pie. Ain't that? But it's interesting because it's like encrusted in like a pastry, and it's like
Okay.
a sort of thing.
Wow. I had 2 chances to try haggis. I just couldn't do it. Like, I could have, I was thinking about it in Scotland.
I had it almost on accident. Like, I didn't
Oh.
know, like chicken that was like wrapped in it was supposedly bacon, but then there's like a layer of haggis in there.
Woo. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm trying new things in my life. I will say that. Haggis, shit, I don't know. That's maybe ask. I think that's where we're gonna have to turn into a tourist. I'll be like, "Oh no, you got McDonald's?" Like,
Oh no, McDonald's be cool to see in different countries because they be serving up different food items.
they do serve up different things, but I must say, since I'm willing myself into a foodie. I haven't had McDonald's overseas in years now. I think I would eat when I used to go overseas. Like, I'd be like, "Where's the McDonald's?" Because I know what they're gonna give me. But now I'm like, "Oh no, let me, start, sticking my big toe." Like I said, when I went to Iceland, I tried the fermented shark. That ain't for me. But I tried it.
Nope, it's a no. But at least I tried it.
Yeah, that's it. I said McDonald's in Amsterdam. Yeah.
Even McDonald's in Hawaii is unique. Yo, I was like, they are serving
good.
ham. They are serving.
I heard about Spam. I heard Spam was good down there.
That's why I said Hawaii, even though it's the United States, that's a whole nother like.
It's a whole nother.
But also, what are 3 tips people should walk away with from this live in terms of knowing before they go to Scotland?
So I would say the first thing is know the time of year that you're going to go. Like, do the research on what you can do as far as like outdoor activities. I would definitely say that because, like I said, if you're looking for sunshine and roses and, just beautiful whatever, I didn't really get that on none of the 4 days I was there.
If you manage to get 2 to 3 days of sunshine.
So that's a big thing because I know people, this is a visual medium. So people want the aesthetics, their pictures. So I would say that, know that the food is trash. And I can't harp on that enough. And then the third thing is just be open-minded. I would definitely say just be open-minded and, you know, try to get away and, you know, venture off in them streets and stuff like that and just talk to people and, you know, get outside the city. Like a lot of people get stuck in the city life and just
that's the
don't want to go.
experience, getting outside the city, and then also just roaming around in the city too. Because
Oh, yeah.
Edinburgh, Glasgow, there are super walkable cities. Like you can get to, like, you know, the old town to new town like within 10 to 15, especially Edinburgh. Is super walkable versus like Glasgow. When I needed to go to a museum, I ended up having to like, there was no way to like be able to walk to the exhibit that I needed to see, especially for the time that I was pressed, because I was trying to see this like Black woman exhibit, and it was in a museum that was much further out. But I found Edinburgh though, everything that I wanted to see was within walking distance. And honestly, like I said, that's how I stumbled on that concert. It was just, I decided to walk on my own away from other people. So walking.
Oh, look at the times for stuff, because I try to go to oh man, what's the King and Queen's estate, you know, the opposite side of Edinburgh Castle. I couldn't get inside because it was closed on the days that I was there, and
so that's another
I was kind of
being conscious of when things are open, because not only in Scotland but everywhere, like some places like museums maybe, or whatever you're trying to see, they may be closed like 3-4 days out of the week. Like they're either open beginning of the week or the end of the week. Sometimes there's longer hours. Sometimes it'll be a weird window, 12 to 4. So in some ways, doing your research of like knowing what you want to hit up ahead of time, and then searching when is it open, so you're not pissed off when you get there.
I was, because I wanted to go inside that castle. I was mad. And that's the reason why I said I have to go back to Edinburgh just for that. But all I need is a day trip. I just need to make sure when I land that establishment is open and I'm good, you know, so.
That makes sense. Well, thank you so much in engaging in this amazing convo. I think you helped open people's eyes to Scotland. Hopefully this also just inspires you, where Scotland will be one of those trips where it will be very much out of your comfort zone, but here both of our experience, hopefully you realize it is a place that is worthwhile considering, in terms of there's a lot of beauty in nature, in the buildings. People are going to treat you really well. And so I know that's a big thing that's always a concern for Black Americans traveling abroad, of where you would feel accepted. And the Black culture does exist. You just have to seek it out, and you can follow me to learn where that Black culture is. To conclude, can you let everyone know where they can find you on all the channels?
Okay, I appreciate that. So first, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to come on your show. I had a great time talking to you and your audience. So yeah, you can find me at Travels of My Lifetime on Instagram, Travels of My Lifetime on Facebook. My YouTube channel is Travels of Preston, and all my links are actually on my Instagram or on my YouTube channel. And I drop a new video every single Monday. That's 52 videos a year, different videos. So yeah. I'm always in the world, always looking, you know, for, you know, just new advice, tips, whatever. I go anywhere. I'll show up anywhere.
No, and he really does, though. So I would definitely to follow him on Instagram and blog on YouTube. I would say it's been great seeing your journey also as a vlogger, and how much growth I've even seen in terms of the content you're putting out. So you're just like dope people to know and follow. And then for me, you can follow me on Instagram at Franny the Traveler. You can also follow me on Facebook at Franny the Traveler. And I have my blog, frannythetraveler.com. So you can go on there, sign up for the monthly newsletter. You'll get a free microcation checklist if you sign up. And I just do a recap of the locations that I feature on social media, so you can get that inside scoop. And then also purchase my book, Support Black.
Get that book
on Amazon right now. And so you'll notice all my content aligns to basically elevate all the aspects of this book in terms of buy Black, learn Black, amplify Black, celebrate it knowingly. And so I am featuring Scotland right now on my stories as well as my news feed. So continue to follow that. But thank you for spending the evening with us as we talked about traveling while Black as a Black American. All right. Bye.
All right, peace.